ఎందుకు స్ట్రెంత్ తగ్గిపోయింది? ఎగ్జామ్సా? రాలేదు కదా! చాలా మంది నిన్నొచ్చిన వాళ్ళందరూ వచ్చారా? ఎందుకు? అటెండెన్స్ కలవట్లేదా? ఆహా! అటెండెన్స్ అది అసలు మీరు పానిక్ అన్ని సెన్సార్స్ ఇస్తే యూ విల్ కీప్ ఆన్ హ్యాండ్స్ ఆన్ ఎక్స్‌పీరియన్స్. అదేమి మీకు ఈరోజు నిన్నట్లాగానే నిన్న కొంచెం బేసిక్స్ కవర్ చేయాలి కాబట్టి లైక్ వి ఆర్ టేకింగ్ థీస్ లెక్చర్స్. డోంట్ ఎక్స్‌పెక్ట్ దట్ వుడ్ బి సేమ్ ఫర్ ద రిమైనింగ్ 3 డేస్. రైట్? సో, రిమైనింగ్ 3 డేస్‌లో ఒకటి ఏఎంఎల్ మీకు ఆల్రెడీ కొంచెం ఆ అప్లికేషన్ గురించి తెలిసే ఉంటుంది. రైట్? సో, ఒకరోజు ఐఓటీ మీద, ఒకరోజు ప్రొడక్ట్ డెవలప్‌మెంట్‌లో ఫైనల్లీ. వెబ్ లేపోతే క్లౌడ్ కంప్యూటింగ్. సో, అవన్నీ కొత్తగానే ఉంటాయి. సిన్స్ బేసిక్స్ ఆర్ టు బి కవర్డ్ ఫస్ట్ 2 డేస్ మేమిలా ప్లాన్ చేసాం. ఇవి తెలియాలి కాబట్టి వేరే బ్రాంచెస్‌కి. ఓకేనా? ప్లస్ అటెండెన్స్ అదే నేను చెప్పబోతున్నాను ఇందాక నాకు రబానీ కూడా చెప్పారు. చాలామంది అది భయపడుతున్నారు కాల్స్ ఎళ్తున్నాయనేసి. డోంట్ పానిక్. రైట్? సో, మీరు ఇంట్లో చెప్పారు కదా! ఇలా 5 డేస్ ప్రోగ్రామ్‌కెళ్తున్నామని. దట్ వుడ్ బి ఓకే. ఎవరికైనా మీకు పేరెంట్స్‌కి కాల్ చేసి నేను చెప్పాలన్నా చెప్తాను. ఓకేనా? కంపల్సరీ అటెండెన్స్ అయితే యాడ్ అవుతుంది. అదేం మీరు భయపడక్కర్లేదు. వేరే డిపార్ట్‌మెంట్స్ కూడా. ఐ విల్ టేక్ కేర్ ఆఫ్ ఇట్. క్లియర్? ఆల్ 5 డేస్ అటెండెన్స్ విల్ బి యాడెడ్. 5 డేసే. రైట్? సో, అటెండెన్స్ అంటే వేరే అంతా అబ్సెంట్ అయిపోయి లాస్ట్‌లో 75 అబ్బో! నేను మేనేజ్ చేయాలంటే ఇట్స్ నాట్ ద థింగ్. రైట్? ఓన్లీ ఫర్ 5 డేస్ ఐ యామ్ గివింగ్ యూ గ్యారంటీ. క్లియర్? యెస్? ఇట్స్ నాట్ లైక్ యూ ఆర్ ఫీలింగ్ బోర్డ్ రైట్? సివిల్ కాదు మామూలుగా వేరే వాళ్ళు. ఏం బోర్డ్‌గా అలా ఏం లేదు కదా! ఓకే. యాహ్! మీ అందరికి ఏదైనా గ్రూప్ ఉందమ్మా? సివిలోళ్ళు కాదు. ఐ మీన్ లైక్ ఈ ప్రొడక్ట్ ఆ గ్రూప్‌లో ఒకసారి ఏదైనా మెసేజ్ పెట్టండి. అటెండెన్స్ విల్ బి గివెన్ నో ప్రాబ్లమ్ ఆల్ ఆఫ్ యూ కెన్ అటెండ్. ఓహ్! పెట్టారా? ఈరోజు మళ్ళీ పెట్టండి. హ్యాడ్ బ్రేక్‌ఫాస్ట్? గుడ్. కొంతమంది మా స్టూడెంట్స్ క్లాసెస్‌లో బ్రేక్‌ఫాస్ట్ తిన్నారా అంటే తినలేదు అని చెప్తారు. ఎందుకంటే సో థట్ వి కెన్ గివ్ పర్మిషన్. దే కెన్ లీవ్ ద క్లాసెస్. బ్రేక్‌ఫాస్ట్ హాబిట్ మంచిదా? కాదా? రైట్? యూ షుడ్ హావ్ యువర్ బ్రేక్‌ఫాస్ట్. దెన్ యూ విల్ బి యాక్టివ్ ఆల్ డే. ఏంటమ్మా? ఆ! ఆ! వచ్చేయండమ్మా. అనదర్ 1, 1 ½ అవర్ ఐ విల్ ఈట్ యువర్ బ్రెయిన్స్. పర్లేదు ఇలా వచ్చింది. నేనేం కొట్టను, ఏం చేయను. వచ్చింది. రబానీ ఎవరమ్మా? ఇక్కడ రబానీ నువ్వా? రమణ. ఓహ్! ఇది ఎవరు ఆపరేట్ చేసి ఆన్ చేసి ఓకే. ఓకే. ఓహ్! ఇవన్నీ రికార్డ్ అయిపోయి ఉంటాయి. So good morning. Welcome you all to second day PDP product development program. So I mean I feel like you'll feel comfortable after at the end of 5 days. Definitely you will try to learn something which is interdisciplinary, Right. So yesterday we have seen in different scenarios where we can work on this type of product development, right? So we have seen like aquaculture, we have seen like in water, or I mean, there are many areas where you can take such type of problems. A and ML, if you see, we'll do lots of experiments in laboratories, civil and as well as mechanical engineering. But all those lots of experiments have to be converted into data models, correct? Right? So we need to make use of AI. We need to make use of ML. Without that, our papers will not be published, right? So but you people say, for example, if you are from AIDS, if you are from AML, do you have real time project data like us? No, because you don't keep experimenting with the data, right? The lab results will be from ourselves. The laborious work, tedious work which we'll do in laboratory, that results, if you wanted to predict something, then definitely that will be from our side. The application point of view, I mean, say for example, when we take civil engineering, transportation is very important. Can you expect infrastructure without proper roads, highways, roads, buildings, right? Infrastructure, everything is with civil engineering, right? So mechanical engineering, without machines you cannot survive, right? So every core branch has its own importance, and every circuit branch, I mean like AML or whatever, no, I mean CSC allied branches have their own importance. It does not mean that each branch is, I mean, different, or each branch is low, right? So don't think likewise, and you can all keep combining. I mean, nowadays it is very important to go for a interdisciplinary project. Multidiscipline projects have lots of importance. This product development has lots of importance, right? So simply if you study for 4 years complete engineering, that would not suffice, right? So you should finally develop some app, you should finally develop some product, you should finally develop some integrated model covering all knowledge what you have gained in 4 years, right? So that would definitely help you. Finally, that would definitely help you if you do a good project, if you do develop a good product, then in interviews you can tell that you will be very much confident enough, right? If you complete one project beforehand, and if you face an interview, definitely you will be very much confident that I have done on this application, I have learned some application and I've just applied that application in this project, and you can showcase it. You'll be more confident. Do you agree? Right? So what do actually, like, why actually in final years of BTech project is mandatory, capstone project is mandatory? Do you agree that it is necessary, or simple theory knowledge is enough for 4 years? No, project is very very important, right? So after your BTech, if you get placed in different companies, you will work in team or you will work individually. Team. So in projects, you will have team building. You'll work with multiple teams, correct? Right? You'll work with multiple people with different personalities, correct? Yes or no? Right? So one will be very much positive through towards work. One will be very much negative. One will be very much enjoying. Right? One will be movie making. I mean, one will be very much interested in movie making. Lots of variations between you yourselves. Right. So definitely this capstone project, the final year project, is a thing like where people can team build first, right? So team building skills are team, integrating skills will be developed with this type of projects that have been integrated as a part of curriculum, BTech 4 years curriculum. So project work is very, very important. Whatever you have learned, say for example, in civil engineering, we'll study water resources engineering, we'll study environmental engineering, transportation, structures, geotechnical, which is related to soils, everything, right? So we'll have different applications where we'll be strong technically with all the aspects. But at final year, if you take one task and if you do, if you integrate with AI, ML or IoT, what happens? Our project will be complete, right? So even though if you work continuously in a laboratory, if you do not predict a future model which will save time and cost of the project, that would not be beneficial, right? So you should keep on working. If I develop a model for my experimentation data, in reality I can tell that only these parameters are enough for this type of soil. Only, yesterday we have seen clustering, right? Yesterday we have seen clustering. So out of 25 sampling stations, 2 clusters are found. What does it mean? At 2 places, if you, when out of 25 places, majorly, for future, if you just predict for 2 places, that is enough. Because more or less, the data is similar. So what about cost of experimentation? What about time? Right? So if cost time is preserved, you are an effective cost project manager. What is the main aim of project management? Construction management or project management? Do you have PPM, project planning and management, as a core subject? It is to minimize, to optimize the resources. What are actually the resources for any project? What are actually the resources for any project? Is time very important? Is cost very important? Is resource very important? Manual resource, material resource, correct? Manpower is required for doing, executing a project. At the same time, materials are required for the project, right? So if you have more material utilization with more cost, is that project cost effective? No. If you have utilized more manpower, so more number of all of you are engaged in one project, is it cost effective? No. What about time? Time is also very, very important. If you are able to complete project with short time, with short duration, with minimum manpower and with less cost, only then as an engineer you are successful. Am I correct? If you develop a product which is cost effective, which involves less number of resources, and when I speak of resources, it is both material as well as manual. Manpower is required, unless a project cannot be done by robo, right? Right? Some manpower intelligence is required, human brain is required, some material is required, right? And some intelligence is required. Execution part is to be done with less time as well as less cost. Only then you are effective engineers. If you simply waste money, if you simply drag time, if you simply do not productively come with a product, then you're, we are said to be waste engineers. Am I clear? Right. So, I've just deviated from the topic. I'm telling why this product development program is very important. Why capstone projects are very important in BTech curriculum. Right. So let me introduce to today's topic. So yesterday we have seen, like in a water case, how we have taken the data and how we have analyzed statistically by means of cluster analysis and principal component analysis, and we also seen how data can be made as input for both machine learning and deep learning, right? And I have also taken an example of Gaussian elimination technique, right? So roughly, I've just told you we can study data in different ways. We can study data in different ways. Am I clear? Right. So now let us see with another case. Yesterday, sir was telling completely about aquaculture, right? Is this area predominant with aquaculture? Yes, definitely. Yes, right. So most people rely on it. they'll neglect the quality of water, but they'll rely on aquaculture for money, right? So, and that too in Western Delta, as I've told you, I mean, like across the globe, India ranks second, China ranks first, of course, it is most populated, and next, India ranks second. At the same time, in India, I mean, along the coastal zone, if you take, Andhra Pradesh ranks second again. Again, in Andhra Pradesh, Western Delta ranks first. Do you understand? So that is the importance of aquaculture in our area, right? So that is why we have taken Western Delta as a zone. Because why did we select this Western Delta? We have some Narmada basin, we have some Ganga basin, we have some Himalayas. Can't we go there and work? No, right? It's not feasible to work in Himalayas, right? It's somewhere we need to identify a problem which is in your raising. Am I clear? If you wanted to do a project, how do we select a problem is somewhere in your region, you need to select a project area, study area, correct? Yes or no? Right? So then that would be more reliable. So we have selected our zone, right? Our zone is full of water, correct? Our Western Delta, it is full of water. Who is supplying water? River Godavari. Clear, right? From Cotton Barrels, River Godavari, we have 4 streams. Yesterday I have shown you, right? So we have 6 streams, but I have taken 4 streams for my case, right? So all, I mean, water is supplied with those 4 man-made canals, yesterday I have told. So similarly, since area is also predominant with aquaculture, now let us see what works can be done with aquaculture. Yesterday I've told you about water quality, what type of works can be done. You can calculate an index which is easily understood for people. Did you remember how many indices did we discuss? 2 types, WKI, WA, NSF, WKI, right? You need not remember. Actually, generally, we have just calculated an index, statistical index, which tells you the water quality is good or bad. Because all chemistry knowledge cannot be understood in depth by everyone. It can be understood easily if you just see the data, but it cannot be understood in detail scientifically by all the people. Am I correct? Right? So the interrelations you cannot understand, but you can understand if water quality is made good or bad, correct? So index is found, and for that index we have done statistical analysis, we have grouped, everything is completed, right? And again, I have also told you that aquaculture, this area is also more predominant with aquaculture practice, not agriculture practice, correct? Sorry. ఇది ఏంటమ్మా పని చేయట్లేదు? హెడ్ లైట్ రావట్లేదు. ఒక సైడ్‌లోనా? As I've told you yesterday, like, I mean, this along the coastal delta, coastal region of India, see, if you see, it is Gujarat, and if you see, this is South India. Again, this is the western part, eastern part, sorry, this is western part, right? So along the coast, aquaculture is practiced, right? So yesterday we have been told that almost 4,08,000 single ponds with 0.8 hectares area, right? Each pond is of that area, or approximately it is 1 hectare area. What's 1 hectare and all? I mean, it's not needed, right? Usually 1 hectare area will be the pond size. So India is holding, I mean, this much amount of aquaculture. See, it is 18%. It ranks second position globally in the year 2021. As per the literature survey, in the year 2021, India ranks second. Which is first one? China. So again, we have taken our own region as a problem identified. What is a problem identified? Aquaculture practice in India. That too in our region. What is the region? Western Delta. Western Godavari Delta. See, from India, Andhra Pradesh, this is the place. And again, where is our place? Fourth one. So this one. See, all the blue zone is aquaculture. Earlier it was agriculture. Now all the blue zone is aquaculture. So converting land, I mean agriculture from agriculture to aquaculture, is it a good practice? Why? Soil pollution, right? So definitely lots of nutrients accumulation, lots of chemicals will get deposited in the soil. If we grow plants in that area, what happens? Automatically the food is consumed by ourselves. The food is, plants are taken by animals, plants are taken by human beings. Plants are taken by animals, animals are taken by us. Correct? Right? Again, it is a food chain, which is just again impacting more on human health, which is impacting more on human health. So this is again a serious problem that is to be countered. It's not a joke, right? So aquaculture is again a serious problem for our health. That is why nowadays we have many type of diseases, right? Do you agree? Right? I mean, in olden days, we do not have such type of diseases. But nowadays, if we take more number of type, I mean, like more number of diseases, right? It is because of lots of chemicals in food. So what happens when you have a pond? When you have a pond like this, when lots of chemicals, when lots of pesticides, when lots of, I mean, nutrients, minerals, everything are added, nitrogen, phosphorus, zinc, right? Zagri. I mean, most of you also rely on aquaculture ponds, right? For food. Many minerals will be added in the ponds, right? So what happens? All those minerals will be taken by shrimp or fish that is grown in the pond. But how much will be the gut of those fish and shrimp? Very small. It will take only the required food, and all the excess food will just accumulate in the pond itself. Accumulate in the pond itself. That will go to the bottom of the pond. You agree? So, I mean, we can work on these cases: water quality prediction, water quality monitoring, water quality classification. You can go for regression or classification under supervised learning techniques, right? So, if you have structured data, you can go for classification or regression, and you can identify the pollution sources. You can optimize water treatment procedure, right? Ultimately, what is to be done as successful engineers, you need to see that optimization is done. As I've told you, everything is related to the project. If the project cost is more, you are not successful. If the project time is more, you are not successful. Am I correct? Right? Everything optimized. Again, every work that we take is related to optimization. Yes or no? So WQI calculation can be done. Decision support systems, you need to take proper decisions. From government agencies, we need to take all regulations. We need to see if all regulations are followed strictly or not. Right? You can have a survey in a particular areas. Right? You can have surveys, data fusion and integration. Finally, you need to integrate with certain models. Yeah? AI, ML, IoT or something. Right? Clear? So this is how the work should be done. This is how work should be done in a case where I have told. If you take aquaculture or water quality into account, right? So since our workshop is regarding water quality, we are just focusing on water quality and something like this. Or otherwise, you can have a transportation problem. You can go for a soil problem. You can go for air problem. You can target something like related to buildings infrastructure. It is because nowadays there is lots of carbon dioxide emissions, right? Even construction industry is giving lots of carbon dioxide emissions. Carbon footprint is a major problem for any industry. Why? Because lots of carbon dioxide is getting evolved. No plants. If plants are grown more, automatically carbon dioxide is taken by plants. But carbon dioxide is released into air, which is again a huge problem that is to be controlled. Correct? Yes or no? So every engineer should speak in terms of carbon footprint. So that is why we have this sustainable development goals, right? So zero carbon, zero hunger. I mean, ultimately the carbon footprint should be very less, or it should be zero, net zero, right? We have government initiatives like net zero, zero hunger, right? Viksit Bharat 2047 is striving for it. Am I clear? So, many researchers have done already works, artificial neural networks, support vector machines, SVM. When those are familiar with AML, you'll know SVM techniques, gradient boosting techniques, black box models, right? Even, like we have used those techniques in our papers, in our research publications. But lots of study will be done first. Lots of study and experimentation will be done first, and for future prediction, we'll go with the different types of models, right? So it does not mean that if I understand only random forest regressor, and if I use it in every research publication, is my research will get published? No, right? So I need to adopt sometimes ML. I need to adopt sometimes some advanced machine learning algorithms, and sometimes some other SHAP analysis or something where I can find. Yesterday sir has shown you, right, SHAP plots. You'll have the influence clearly, right? So sometimes I need to integrate with IoT. Somehow our research paper should be different. There should be some novelty. How do you bring that novelty? You need to study previous research papers clearly. You should have a clear vision of previous research that was done in the same area. You should develop a gap. You should know the gap. What else can be done in that area? If you do the same work again, and if you write a paper, even though if you write it qualitatively, that will not get published. Do you agree? So you need to read research papers. Already you need to do thorough literature survey. You need to study, and you need to find the gap. Are you all understanding? Am I clear? Am I going faster? Clear? Under all eyes on me, please. Why do you raise your heads? You should raise your heads, right? You put your heads down when a lecture is going on. What does that mean? Yeah, right. So, in different areas, different types of works are done. Artificial neural networks. We have already studied many aspects in water quality as well as aquaculture. Say, for example, for a type of study that we take, like when we target an area, first surveying is very, very important, right? So, what type of survey? You need to know what type of soil is there in that area. Field survey is very, very important. How much population is there in each zone is very, very important. And at the same time, you need to go to people and you need to have some questionnaire regarding. If aquaculture is a task, much aquaculture practice, you'll know it from common people instead of studying like this, right? So even a common aquaculture practitioner, who he practices daily, and he'll feed, right? He'll collect shrimp, finally the output, right? So those people will know completely all the details compared to us. So lots of survey is to be done for any big project. Lots of survey. How a problem is to be answered is my point of view, right? I'm explaining how a problem is to be answered. So one problem is aquaculture. First thing you need to do is lots of study. lots of water quality parameters which are needed for aquaculture. You need to experiment it in laboratory, and you need to collect field surveys. I mean, you need to go to the field and you need to ask the people who are practicing it, because they'll give you all complete details. So yesterday I've shown you those canals, right? So intensity of aquaculture ponds. If you take intensity, I mean some practice. I mean they'll have in a single pond they'll give large number of feet. I mean feet size is more. Feet size will be less. Feed size will be medium depending on the intensity, and every crop you'll have more amount to be grown. That is intense, semi intense, moderate, right? So traditional, semi intensive, intensive, if you can see the data is categorized like this. It depends on area of pond, it depends on seed density. See, in traditionally you used to give seed which number of density. Say for example, number of shrimp. Yesterday sir was telling 1 lakh shrimp if it is to be grown, right? So usually 10,000 to 20,000 shrimp. Semi intensive means 20,000 to 60,000. Whereas if it is intensive, 40,000 to 1 lakh. Some people they'll go for intensive aqua farming. They'll see their seed density is very high, right? So similarly, if you go for high density, automatically all this will go on increasing, right? Water exchange per year, salinity range, number of times probiotics are used, number of times chemicals are used, number of times disinfectants are used, right? What's the purpose of disinfectant? It will kill bacteria. What is the purpose of probiotic? It will clean the gut. What is curd? Curd is a good probiotic. If you take curd daily, it will clean our gut. Correct? Same is the case. Some probiotics are artificially added to shrimp and fish in the pond. Why? Because their gut should be healthy. If they grow healthily, then you'll have good shrimp. Correct? So everything is, this is again due to field survey. It is not from some paper or something. This is due to field survey. After thorough field survey that has been done, right? So this data is collected. So yesterday, I mean, it was seen clearly how our area, see, earlier aquaculture area, the red portion in 2016 is like this. In 2022, it was increased like this. So this much vast change is there, variation is there. Clear? So, I mean, vegetation indices. What is meant by vegetation? How thickly is vegetation in this particular area? Say for example, if if there are more number of trees, canopy, strong canopy, right? So what does it mean? The area is healthy. But do we have such type of areas here now? No, because lots of infrastructure, lots of urbanization, everything is leading to destruction of trees, deforestation. Again, which is a very big problem for global warming, carbon footprint. Do you all agree? Everything is correlated in nature. We are all part of ecosystem, Earth's ecosystem, environment. Right? Everything is correlated to each other. We ourselves, for our benefits, we are creating problems. Right? So that's why zero carbon, zero emission. I mean, a world is shifting to EVs, electric vehicles, or I mean, they are replacing cement, which is again a major contributor for carbon. But cement, our construction industry relies. But cement is being replaced nowadays. Waste management, all waste that is produced from different construction industries is being replaced with the cement, so that carbon emission will be less, and at the same time waste can be managed without simply disposing it, right? So waste can be, I mean, our main task is this one. Do you understand? To reduce carbon footprint. That is why we have many supplementary cementous materials nowadays. You understand? So lots of research is going on this. How we can replace without cement itself, can we have a big building like this? Yes, right. Lots of research is going on. We have LC3, right? So it's again another topic. Lots of research is going on. Am I clear? Do you understand? Right. So, I mean, vegetation, is vegetation in an area, if it is healthy or not, how do we decide? We'll decide it by vegetation indices, right? So, these vegetation indices are given by Google Earth Observatory, right? So, RSGIS, some patterns on, I mean, everybody is aware of RS and GIS, right? RS is remote sensing, GIS is geographic information system. Right. So what actually, I mean, what's basic principle? It works on the principle electromagnetic radiation, EMR. Right. What is this EMR? Once EMR is sent from raw source, that EMR falls on the object and again it reflects back. Just how light reflects. How can we see that light? The rays will come and reflect back from our eyes so that we can see that object. The same is the principle. The same is the principle for EMR radiation. Am I clear? Electromagnetic radiation, but intensity is more. That is why we will be able to guess what is actually present. Right? So remote sensing and GIS applications will make use of it. There will be no direct contact with the object, but we can sense the object. That is remote sensing. Am I clear? Yes? Do you understand? Right. So with help of RS and GIS, with the help of Google Earth observatories, these maps are developed. So in Western Delta, if you see this portion, the vegetation, right? NDVI, SAVI, soil adjusted vegetation index, normalized difference vegetation index. NDVI is used if vegetation is healthy. What does it mean? If vegetation is healthy, if the area is fully covered with vegetation, for that type of thick vegetation where you have more number of trees, more greenery, everything, for such vegetation you will calculate NDVI, right? So if the area is less healthy, what does it mean? Vegetation is less, right? So then you will go for soil adjusted vegetation index. You understand? I mean, you can also take the study like this, right? So you can develop SAVI and NDVI studies using Google Earth Observatory or some GIS, RS, etc. I mean, I'm explaining different cases that we can take in a particular area like this. So again, NDTI values. So again, as I've told you, like if any area is taken, if any study is done, you need to bring out a statistical table from the data, right? So mean is very important. Standard deviation is very important. Did I explain you standard deviation importance yesterday? Right? So from every average, automatically the sample differs in some way. That is called as deviation. If you do summation, that gives standard deviation. If what is the importance of variance? If more is a variance, more is the uncertainty between data. There is value called 1, there is value called 105. Is there the difference? Yes, lots of difference. So more will be the variance for that data. You understand? Right? If variance is close, less uncertainty. So, I mean, for every data that we study, first standard table is to be prepared. See, for all the parameters, minimum value, maximum value, mean value, standard deviation value, coefficient of variance value, right? And you need to give threshold values. I mean, say for example, if for drinking water, the standard IS specification is IS 10,500. For irrigation, you have some other standard. For soils, you will have some other standards. Likewise, for everything, there are already IS standards which we need to consider. Right? So, taking the threshold values, we need to mention if our water is satisfying or not. We need to mention if our soil is satisfying or not. Correct? Are you understanding? So for every data that we take, this table is very, very important. Whoever is the branch. Do you agree? Right? So on an average, if you work for 1,000 samples, you need to know the average of it. You need to know the standard deviation of it. You need to know various variance of it. For that, you need to develop a model. Am I clear? Yes or no? Right. So again, when it was work done on ammonia, of course, ammonia is not required for you. I mean, it's again big data. So let me stop at this. Module 1 open చేయరా Abani, hero ఎవరో module 1. This one close it. Module. Short break. Our students need a break. They'll be very happy for breaks instead of listening to classes. Do you have any doubts? అందరూ సైన్ చేస్తారా సైన్ చేయలేదా సైన్ కూడా చేద్దరు కానీ ఓకే ఓకే when should I stop? You'll be very active for this. When should I stop? 12. Very good. So when from yesterday we are completely speaking of water next to air. Anyways, water is very, very important. Air, water, soil. Can we survive without this? No. Right? Again, when we speak of water, safe drinking water is very important. Is everybody getting safe drinking water? No. So as per United Nations report, almost, I mean 4.2 billion people, see, 4.2 billion people worldwide have access to tap water, while another 2.4 billion had access to public sources such as wells and taps. So 4.2 to 2.4. Whereas about 1 to 2 billion people lack safe drinking water. You can imagine 1 to 2 billion people lack safe drinking water. So everybody is suffering from water related diseases, right? Typhoid is due to waterborne disease. Cholera is waterborne disease. All major big diseases, if you neglect water, definitely you'll have waterborne diseases. But at the same time, how much water is required for us? How much water is required? Almost 2 to 3 liters daily you should drink, right? Can you drink 5 liters? Again, it is unhealthy. Overconsumption of water is also unhealthy, right? But 3 liters is very good for your health point of view. Which water? Safe water, which is good, free from everything. Clear? So again, yesterday, like we have discussed much about sustainable development. I mean, sir has discussed much about sustainable development goals. Do you agree that sustainable development goals play an important role nowadays? Yes, because our government has also taken it seriously, right? United Nations, after formulating it in the year 2016, it worldwide across the globe, everyone has taken it seriously. Why? What is happening to the resources present on the earth? They are getting exhausted because lots of utilization, they are getting exhausted. And what about carbon footprint? That is increasing, right? So everything has to be reduced actually. Everything has to be reduced actually, right? So our main aim is, you can see all those goals. There should not be any poverty actually. There should not be any hunger actually, right? I mean, you need good health and well-being actually, and you need quality education for all boys and girls, right? And you need gender equality, right? Nowadays, is gender equality good? Yes, right? So earlier there was lots of discrimination between boy and girl, but nowadays I don't think. Okay, some places there are some atrocities, but gender equality is very important. That is why we have in curriculum gender sensitization. But of course, the classes are not being run, right, for gender sensitization. But it's very important subject. It is very important course required for people like you, for people like any people, for any people it is very important, right? Some universities will take seriously gender sensitization is a part of curriculum. It's very important, right? We should respect women. You should respect men. That's very important. Am I clear? Clean water and sanitation. SDG 6. SDG 6 is very important for our study. Why? Because we are speaking of water. Water required for aquaculture, water required for drinking purpose, right? I mean, our case, the case that I've taken to explain you is related to water. If you take another case, maybe clean water and sanitation might not suit for all. Make clear? SDG 6. So likewise, say for example, any problem that we take that should be aligned with SDGs. Life below water is 14. It is not only aquaculture, it is not inland aquaculture. The concept is marine aquaculture. Right? Life on land, all life comes on land. So every project that we take can be related to SDG 15. So likewise, any BTech project or MTech project that you complete in your as a part of your course, that should be correlated to SDGs, Sustainable Development Goals. Very important. How many are there? 17. So our projects will be definitely aligned. Our engineering projects will be definitely aligned to any one of this or any four of this. That would be a good project. Do you understand? Interdisciplinary comes there, right? If any four SDGs or 4 to 5 SDGs, if you are able to align your project, then that would be definitely a good project nowadays. Right? Even in schools, there is a term called SDG. If you go to school, everybody is speaking of sustainability. Everybody is speaking of SDG. Why? Because our future should sustain. If you just complete all resources at present, what will our future generation enjoy? Right? That is the concept. Right? If everything is practiced, I mean, we have just kept on board. But if we practice it, automatically everyone starts practicing it, then our future generations will be safe on the earth, on the planet Earth. Correct? Yes or no? Right. So earlier, before 2015, it is Millennium Development Goals (MDG). Now it is after 2016 Sustainable Development Goals. Actually, Sustainable Development Goals, United Nations has framed it that all countries have to accomplish it by the year 2030. But is it done? See, we are already into 2026. Can we complete everything and can we achieve everything? Is the vision accomplished by 2030? No. So that is why again our government has taken initiative by Niti Aayog. What is it? Viksit Bharat 2047. We have just extended so that we can complete our goals at least by that period, right? So as you young engineers, you should take care of this, right? You need to see that globe is sustainable. The resources are sustainable. You need to work in such a way. You need to think no energy emission, right? So you need to think any project that you do, the energy emission is less. You need to think the resource utilization is less. You need to think the cost is effective, right? You need to think no harm to environment. So any project that you take, you need to think in that direction. Whether it might be CSE, whether it might be EEE, whether it might be AADS, AML, whatever. Any project that you take, automatically the environment should be affected. Only then the future generations will be, Earth will be sustainable. That is the main aim of SDGs. Am I clear? As you engineers, you should develop a project in such a way that everything is safeguarded. Am I clear? Am I reachable? Am I audible? So yesterday we have seen 5 P's, right? People, planet, everything. So again, I mean, as aquaculture and water is taken into account, which SDG is very important? Clean water and sanitation. What is it? SDG 6. Right? So as a part of it, drinking water, sanitation and hygiene is also very, very important. We, of course, will be washing our hands after some work. We'll wash before eating some food, right? But most of the people from remote villages, do you think they'll all practice the same thing? No, right? So hygiene, sanitation is also very, very important. It is very important aspect. Clean water and sanitation. So again, sir told you, like for each and every SDG there will be indicators. Indicators, I mean, are like, I mean, they are seeing the progress whether the SDG is getting fulfilled or not, right? There are many indicators. So clean water and sanitation. So by 2030, what is our target? You need to achieve, you need to provide safe and affordable drinking water. What about RO water? Kent purifiers, RO, right? So even though we have plenty of water, we are relying on RO. But is RO water good actually? Is it having any minerals in it? No, right? So definitely we are getting some knee pains, we are getting some leg problems, arthritis, right? All these problems are again due to usage of RO. If you again see the studies, you understand? So we need to blend minerals, we need to blend water. I mean, there should be some blended mode treatment systems which will not suppress minerals, but which will suppress harmful chemicals in water, right? We should work in that terms. You understand? Minerals should be there in water, because for this, from this demineralized water, if you consume demineralized water like RO water, what is happening in the long term? Our health is getting affected. So we should work in such a way that minerals are not getting suppressed, but harmful chemicals and bacteria are getting killed. You should come with treatment procedures such a way. Am I clear? As very good engineers, as future engineers, you should come with certain technologies where minerals will not get lost. Am I clear? So again, like yesterday, there was lots of class on sustainable development goals, right? So I'll not touch those aspects. So see, in multi-sectors, we can take our studies, agriculture, industries, municipal water supply. Aquastat is again a data source. It's a data global source where you can have plenty of data. So again, like, I mean, when you have plenty of data, accuracy and precision are two important parameters that have to be taken into account. So what is meant by accurate? When can you call a value as accurate value? When it is nearer to true value, right? So when a value is exactly equal to or nearer to true value, then you can call it as accurate value. What about precise value? Say for example, if you get some value as 5, some value as 5.2, some value as 5.4, even though it is not equal to true value, if the values are consistently precise or correct, some with less deviation, if you are getting values in experimentation, those values are called as precise values. Accurate value is different, precise value is different. Both accuracy and precision are very, very important for modeling aspect. For modeling aspect. So again, how water is measured, how water parameters are measured, right? So let me tell about water quality now. Let me tell about water quality. So water quality, actually how do you tell any water quality or wastewater quality or air quality or soil quality? What actually it has? Composition decides. Do you agree? Right? So the composition decides. Right? So what actually is present in water decides the quality of water. Do you all agree? What actually is present in our body decides the health of ours. Same is the case. So quality is decided like that, right? So quality of water is categorized into three variables. We can call it as three characteristics. What are they? Physical characteristics, chemical characteristics, biological characteristics. Do you understand? I'll just give you a small brief because since you are just bringing up a model on water quality, I just want to give you some basics of water quality, right? So I'll just give you a short note. That's all. Yeah, right. So what actually is present in water gives the quality. So what is the composition of water that indirectly gives the quality of water? So water quality is categorized into three types. What are they? Physical, chemical, and biological characteristics. Physical. What does it mean? It is just like physical appearance. Right? So what we see in water. Physical characteristics are like color, odor, taste, turbidity, and temperature. What would be the temperature? Yesterday it is seen clearly, right? So normally if you dip a thermometer in water, temperature should be recorded, right? So around 20 degrees Celsius. Our room temperature is 25 to 28 usually, right? So it should be around 20 degrees Celsius. I mean, sometimes some standards will tell that if it is greater than 30 degrees Celsius, water should not be drunk because it is contaminated with sewage. The water's temperature is greater than 30, it should not be taken as a water for intake purpose. Why? Because there is possibility that it is contaminated with some bacteria or something. Am I clear? Right? So water temperature is around 20 to 30. How do we measure it? Is by means of thermometer. And I mean, physical appearance is what we see. Physical appearance of water is physical characteristics. We understand what we see. So we observe color. So what's color of water? Transparent actually. It is colorless. It is colorless. If you have some color, gray or black, yesterday sir was telling what is the nature? It is not pure. It is impure. It is with lots of chemicals in it or some impurities in it. Do you agree? So color. Again, how color is measured? Again, there is a standard. Usually, there are silica particles which are called as soil particles. If 1 milligram of silica, if it is dissolved in 1 liter of water, what will be the concentration? That is actually a standard for measuring turbidity. What is meant by turbid water? Muddy water. If the soil has certain impurities, sorry, if the water has certain impurities, it is called as turbid water. Clear water is free of turbidity, right? So if turbidity, say for example, 1 milligram of silica, if it is dissolved in 1 liter of distilled water, how much will be the concentration of silica in that 1 liter? That is standard for measuring turbidity of water. Similarly, if you wanted to measure color, 1 milligram of cobalt, cobalt is again a chemical, right? 1 milligram of cobalt, if it is dissolved in 1 liter of distilled water, what color does it give? That is again a standard for measuring color of water sample, right? So I think sensors and probes will, I mean, they'll train you, right? I think this much information is not required. I'll make it much simple. I'll make it much simple. So physically, we'll see the color. What should be the color of water? Colorless. If it has color, is it objectionable? Yes. You don't feel like drinking yellow water or green water, right? So aesthetically also physical appearance is very, very important. And next, what about taste Actually, water is said to be tasteless. What is said to be tasteless? If it has more minerals, some taste you'll have. If it has some other salt content, more salt content, you'll have water salty. Right? So, I mean, again, water should be actually tasteless, actually. Right? And what about color? Colorless. Taste? Tasteless. Odor? If you have bad smell from water, automatically do you take that water? No. Right? So, smell should be zero. Smell should be zero. So, physically only we can see everything, right? There should not be any particular standards for it. But actually, there are standards to measure it. Do you understand? Right. And similarly, what about turbidity? What is called turbid water? Turbidity means muddy water. Mud. Turbid means mud. Right. So how do we measure it? Per 1 liter water, if you mix 1 milligram of silica, how much concentration does it have? It is standard for measuring turbidity. We have digital turbidity meters. We have some digital turbidity meters or turbidity rods which will directly measure turbidity of water. Right. So it is between 0 to 10 NTU. As per some standards, it is up to 15 NTU. Some will give you 5 to 10 NTU. Right. So if it is greater than 10 NTU, it is not safe for drinking. It is not safe for drinking. It means that you have lots of chemical impurities present in water, which is not again safe for drink. You understand? So this is all about temperature, turbidity, color, taste and smell, odor. Yeah. These are all physically seen. Now next important parameters are chemical parameters. Chemical parameters. Yesterday we have seen about pH. How much should be the pH for drinking water? 6 to 8.5. As per WHO standards, it should be in between 6 to 8.5. If the water has pH less than 7, what can it be called as acidic? In lower classes, you might have studied, right? What is acidic solution? Depending on pH, if it is less than 7, acidic. If it is greater than 7, alkaline, basic. Right? So if it is nearer to 7, neutral. But water's pH should be 6 to 8.5, which is safe for drinking. Which is safe for drinking. If pH is greater than 10, that could also be drunk. But what's the problem? There is every possibility that there'll be formation of DBPs, disinfection byproducts, which is carcinogenic. Nowadays there are lots of problems with cancers also, right? Right. So you should see that water should not be too alkaline in nature. Very high alkalinity in water is also not safe. It is also not safe. Am I clear? I'm just touching basics because the chemistry, everything is required for civil engineers. So I'm just touching basics. So again, if you take chloride content, chlorides or salts, how much should be we should have chlorides to less than 250. I mean, sometimes we'll feel salty content, right, in water. It is because of chlorides. It is because of chlorides. What's common salt available in our homes? NaCl, sodium chloride, is table salt that we use, right? So chloride content, if it is more, automatically the water is said to be salty. Can we consume it? No, right? So usually the permissible limit is 250 milligram per liter. So likewise, residual chlorine, sulfates, nitrogen, fluoride, total hardness, dissolved oxygen. I mean, all these are parameters which are to be checked in water for safe drinking water, right? And biochemical oxygen demand, chemical oxygen demand, toxic inorganic substances, toxic organic substances. Again, all these are present in water. This gives chemical characteristics of water. What is present in water will give certain quality, right, in the terms of characteristics. Some chemicals are present in water which gives chemical characteristics to water. Do you agree? Right? So all this should be studied. pH, uh, I mean solids, And we need to study about BOD, DO, total organic carbon, organic substances, inorganic substances, fluorides, chlorides, sulfates, everything. So I'll not bore you much. I'll just tell what is it to. That's all. Right? So I'll tell you to the point. That's all. I'll not bore you much. And again, apart from physical and chemical quality, what other quality is very important? Microbiology. Biology means study of life. Bio, life. Logos, study of life. Which biology is present in water? Bacteria, virus, protozoa, right? So, I mean, again, bacteria is very important. You have useful bacteria, you have harmful bacteria. Even in our body, we have bacteria in our stomach, do you know? Which is called as E. coli, Escherichia coli, E. coli, the useful bacteria. But if you have E. coli in water, that is not safe because there is contamination from human body. Water is contaminated, right? There is fecal contamination. Only then you will have water E. coli. So that is why water should be free from bacteria. Actually, as per WHO standards, the bacteria should be zero in water. If it has bacteria, automatically you will get affected. In your body, you will have some bacteria. All digestion happens only with bacteria. Do you agree? But useful bacteria. But at the same time, that bacteria, if it is found in water, what does it mean? There is some contamination. Do you agree? Right? I'll not go into details. Yeah. So water quality is, as I've told you, what actually is present in water gives the quality. The composition itself decides. Am I correct? So what is there in water? So as I've told you, like it is, we have chemicals, we have microbes. Some are beneficial, some are disease causing. And chemicals, there are some essential nutrients, and there are also toxic chemicals. So again, microbes size, if you can see, I mean, it is approximately zero point 0.1 nanometer to 1 centimeter, 1 millimeter, 100 micrometers. See, you can see the very small size, right? So if you see on the scale, the size is very, very small here. And you'll have different shapes of bacteria like this, right? You'll have different shapes of bacteria like this. But if these bacteria are found in water, is it safe? No. Is it safe? No. So again, I'll keep it short. I'll not make you to get bored. I'll see some points you'll understand, right? Because there are many other branches, right? I'll see that you'll understand the basic requirement. We'll not go into details, right? So if something is to be spoken on BOD, I can take 4 to 6 hours on BOD alone because that is subject required for civil engineers. Am I clear? But of course, my students might be facing this semester, right? So I can take class on BOD for 4 to 6 hours alone, the BOD topic itself with all the problems as well as BOD topic, right? So, but what actually is required, I'll just present here because everything is not required for all the other people. Clear? So, chemical parameters can be classified into BOD, COD, chemical oxygen demand, total organic carbon, theoretical oxygen demand, nutrients, toxic chemicals, heavy metals. Likewise, when what have been present, all these will be present in water. If they are in excess, it is harmful. If it is low, okay. Am I clear? Right? So that is what quality is. If they are in excess above WHO standards, is it safe to drink? No. If they are less, okay. So what is BOD? Right. So usually BOD is very important when it comes to wastewater, not water. What actually BOD tells, there is some organic matter present in water. Organic matter is just like our food. Do we think like our food is free from organic matter? No. What is organic matter? You might have studied in lower classes. Carbon containing compound is called as organic compound. Do you agree? Carbon containing compound. Carbon is single element. What is carbon containing compound? Carbon, hydrogen, oxygen. What's glucose that you take? C6H12O6. 6 parts of carbon, 12 parts of hydrogen, 6 parts of oxygen is a combined molecule, combined compound of glucose, which we take in the form of sugar daily. Clear? Sucrose, C12H22O11. Likewise, for every food that we take is organic in nature. Do you understand? Right. So there will be some nitrogenous organic matter. So apart from carbon, hydrogen and oxygen, there will be some amount of nitrogen also in food. Right. So there will be some sulfur. If you take onion, it is sulfurous in nature. Apart from carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, there will be sulfur also in water. Sorry, sulfur also in food. You understand? Right. So I mean, organic matter is something that is carbon containing compound. Do you agree? Organic matter is something that is carbon containing compound. Apart from it, you'll have some nitrogen, you'll have some sulfur, whatnot. Right? Hydrogen, oxygen, carbon is common in any organic compound. Compound, I'm speaking of compound. Compound should be the mixture of elements 1, 2, 3, etc. etc. Yeah. Apart from carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, if you have nitrogen, it is called as nitrogenous organic matter. If you have sulfur, it is called as sulfurous organic matter. So, this organic matter is food for bacteria in water. Do you understand? Just like we feed on some food, they'll feed on some food, right? I mean, as simple as that, I'm just telling you, right? So, in water, if there is food in the form of organic matter, that food is taken by bacteria as food. What does that bacteria do? After taking that food from water, it will digest and it will form into simple compounds. As a result, treatment is done. As a result, treatment is done. Am I clear? Right. So BOD is, say for example, is bacteria animal life or plant life? Animal life. Bacteria is an animal. It is a small animal, of course. We are very big. It is very small. What do animal life require? Oxygen. So just like us, just like human beings, bacteria also requires oxygen as well as food. How food is actually available? In the form of organic matter, just like us. Do you understand? So this bacteria will take that organic matter and it will digest and it will take oxygen required from water. Right? And it will convert into simple food. That is BO. Very simple. Right. So there will be, I mean, BOD test is conducted in laboratory for 5 days. You need to maintain this BOD test for 5 days in an incubator and you need to get test results. Right. So which will I'll explain clearly for civil engineers afterwards. Right. So now BOD is not required much. Do you understand? It is a 5-day laboratory test. But it is very difficult to measure with sensor because for 5 days reaction can you just sense it within minutes? No, it would be wrong if you do it. Yeah, right. So chemical oxygen demand. When to go for chemical oxygen demand? I mean BOD is bacteria. I mean just like us. Can you feed on grass? No. Animals feed on grass. So some food will be taken by animals, some food will be taken by us. Right? Similarly, some food will be taken by bacteria. Do you all agree? Right? So some organic matter which is biologically active, I mean which can be fed by bacteria is biologically active. Some will not be fed by bacteria. Even bacteria cannot take chemical waste because it is very small. Cell wall will break and it will die immediately if we take some harmful chemical from water as food. Do you agree? It's very small, minute life. Think. See, since we are taking some bad food, we are just getting contaminated immediately and we are getting harmful diseases immediately. Don't you think bacteria's life is very important? It is very minute, right? So if bacteria feeds on some other unwanted food, definitely it also gets injured. Its health will also be broken. So it feeds on only biologically. I mean, what it can take, it will take. What other food it cannot take, it will not take because it will not digest it. Right? So that undigested food, if you wanted to make a count, then you need to go for this test, chemical oxygen demand. This is a purely chemical based laboratory test to find amount of oxygen taken by bacteria. You understand? So bacteria needs food and oxygen. That you can count it by biochemical oxygen demand. What about chemical oxygen demand? Some unwanted food which cannot be taken by bacteria, that if you wanted to make a count, then you need to go for COD, chemical oxygen demand. Again, it is a laboratory test. You will not have a COD probe. It's difficult, right? So, for oxidation, need to count ammonia and all, you will not have a probe. For pH, turbidity, everything, you will have a sensor probes to test immediately. pH sensor will be like this. TDS sensor will be like this. If you dip in water for some time, definitely you will have a reading, right? But this cannot be done. You need to go for traditional approaches. Am I clear? And of course, IIT Madras, some other institutes have done works. I mean, some part of procedure should be done. It does not mean just with the sensor you will get it. Clear? So total organic carbon theoretical oxygen demand is again beyond your topic. That's not required actually, right? Again, I mean like uh, and more. It's not required because you are not going to develop any sensors or you are not going to develop any products for these. Damn sure, I suppose. Again, nutrients. So, for example, nitrogen and phosphorus. Definitely, nitrogen and phosphorus will be added to shrimp pond or aquatic ponds. But what happens? These nutrients will be taken in water, I mean by bacteria, and excess nutrients will be accumulated in the pond's bottom, which is again harmful. Which is again harmful because excess nutrification will lead to eutrophication. And it is a technical term which is for green algae. You'll see in ponds green algae, right? Nachu, right? So what is it? It is again with the technical process called as eutrophication. అది అలా పట్టేస్తే ఏమవుతుంది? There will be no oxygen penetration into the ponds. If there is no additional oxygen penetration, what about fish and shrimp? You understand? Heavy metals. What about heavy metals? They are carcinogenic. Iron, manganese, arsenic, tin, um, zinc, right? So if they are in permissible limits, okay. If they are exceeding the limits, then again it is carcinogenic. What is to be carcinogenic? There is every possibility that you'll get cancers. Why nowadays carcinogenic? I mean, many cancers are arising in this area. Do you know Bhimavaram is second capital for cancers, right? So why actually is happening? In waters we have heavy metals which is not at all required. Heavy metal traces should be 0.05 or below 0.05 or nil. Actually they should be nil, but we are getting in hundreds. We are getting in above 50, 20, which is highly carcinogenic, toxic. So that is why cancer cells are getting developed. You understand? Heavy metal analysis can be done with HPLC, high performance liquid chromatography. There is an instrument in vet center, HPLC. Heavy metal analysis is costlier because it is very important, right? Carcinogenic element, if you wanted to find it, there should be some sophisticated instrument which is costlier. It is around 30 lakhs, right? So there is an instrument called gas chromatography. It is around 2 crores, which is very costly. And they'll dictate, I mean, they'll find how much amount of heavy metals are actually present in water. But do we record heavy metals in water? No. Nil or some certain traces, okay. Certain traces concentration 0.005 is okay. It is more than that, harmful. Harmful for our health. So as I've told you, BOD is measured for 5 days in an incubator. I'm not speaking much about dissolved oxygen, in BOD, etc. Right? So it will take again 1 hour, 2 hours class. which is not required. I think you'll feel bored. If you want it, I'll tell whatever. Right? I am not concentrating much on the quality aspects because that again takes a different topic actually. Right? What actually is required, I'm just telling. Clear? So you'll have an instrument like this is BOD incubator, this is COD digester, total organic carbon can be found. These are all available in wet center. So there is a center opposite, right? Water and Environmental Technology Center, right? So it is purely testing water because water is given such importance. Even though we neglect, can we neglect water from our life? No. Next to air, water is very, very important for every creature, for every work, for drinking, for cooking, industries, factories, shrimp, everything, every agriculture, right? Multi-sectoral business, everything can anything cannot be done without what? You understand? So lots of instruments are available in this wet center. So I think afternoon Jeevan sir will make you to go through that, right? So he will help you with that instruments. Like usually, as I've told you, the food is organic matter, right? So organic matter. So we take oxygen, we take food in the form of organic matter. Both will combine and form the simple stable matter as carbon dioxide. The same is the thing how digestion happens with bacteria also. Bacteria also feeds on organic matter. It will take oxygen just like us. Why? Because bacteria is also animal life. Do you agree? It is just like an animal, small animal like us, right? So it will take oxygen, it will take organic matter, it will digest and it will convert into simple stable matter. This is all behind oxygen. I mean oxygen demand, theoretical oxygen demand, BOD, COD, everything, right? So excess nutrients, nitrogen and phosphorus. Again, as I've told you, if they are in excess, they'll cause eutrophication. Blue-green algae is formed, right? Which you'll see commonly on pond surface, which is again harmful if it is excess. Some part is okay. If it is excess, again, it is harmful. Module 2 ఒకసారి in some 10 minutes, right? I'll complete it. Sorry, short break. Okay, okay. Did I eat your heads? Is it okay? Other people I'm asking. Is it okay? Can we conduct such type of programs, interdisciplinary programs? No, I want genuine feedback. Shall I stop at this? Yes? Okay, okay, no problem. Can I stop at this? Anyways, Jeevan sir will show you all those sensors, everything in laboratory. If you want, I can stop at this because you should not get much bored, right? If it is okay, I'll stop at this. Or if you want, I'll take some 10 to 20 minutes class again. Hmm. See, my students are very, very active. I'm asking other people. Are you understanding? ఏమో మీకు అర్థమవుతుందా? ఏమైనా బోరింగ్‌గా అలా ఉందా? అంటే ఔట్ ఆఫ్ సబ్జెక్ట్ అయిపోయి అర్థమవుతుందా? క్లియర్‌గానే ఉందా? Those who wanted to leave can also leave. Join for lunch at 12 o'clock. Same place yesterday. Clear? రేపంతా హ్యాండ్స్ ఆన్ ఉంటుంది. ఏం కంగారు పడక్కల. ఇంకా నో మోర్ టీచింగ్. క్లియర్? So water treatment if you take, so I've told you like biology is there, microbiology is there, so that's why it has biological characteristics. Chemical, many chemicals are there in water, that is why it has chemical characteristics. And physically we can see what actually is present in water, turbidity, taste, color, etc, etc. Right? So if that is the case, do we need water before distribution? Do we need water treatment before distribution or before taking for some purpose? Yes, water treatment is very important task, right? So water treatment is very important before you, I mean like if you drink, before drinking it is very, very important. So we usually have big water treatment plants. We usually have big water treatment plants. Again, people are not relying on municipal water, right? Because I mean drains are getting contaminated. Water drains as well as normal drains, they are adjacent to each other. Yesterday we have seen, right? So water fish pond is there, and you will have normal drinking water pond from which water is supplied to overhead. There's a small treatment is done and it is supplied to water. Do you think that water is safe? No, it has lots of chemicals in it, which is not safe. It is fully contaminated with bacteria, which is not safe again, which is not safe again, right? So I mean water treatment is very, very important. Usually in water treatment plants, I mean which are, I mean for Bhimavaram you have water treatment plant, you can check somewhere outside outskirts, you have big water treatment plant. In Palakulu you'll have water treatment plant, right? So usually for a big cities you'll have a very good water treatment plant which where treatment is very appropriate, right? So in the communities, I mean like in the areas like this, they'll neglect, they'll not follow all hard and fast rules. But in very big towns like Chennai, Hyderabad, the water quality is seen that it is good when it is supplied, because a treatment procedure is done exactly what actually is required as per the standards, right? So we cannot comment on them. It is because the quality again depends on the people who are lying there and who are maintaining the standards. If they are well educated, they'll maintain. If they are not, they'll not do it, right? Again, it depends. So again, I mean, in water, there is a property called as hardness, hard water. What does it mean? There'll be salts called cations, there'll be some anions. You know what is meant by cation, right? What is it? Positive ion. Calcium, magnesium, Ca2 plus, magnesium, Mg2 plus, they are cations. What about anions? Chloride, Cl minus, sulfates, SO4 2 minus, nitrates minus, right? So what will happen when there are cations, when there are anions, they'll combine with each, right? So when calcium and magnesium cations react with chlorides, nitrates and sulfates, they'll cause permanent hardness in water, which is hard to remove. When calcium and magnesium combine with carbonates and bicarbonates, they'll form temporary hardness in water, which can be easily removed. Simple boiling is enough, right? So how do we measure this? I mean, how do we tell that this water is hard, this water is soft? So for example, you'll have some lather. When you rub water with soap, if soap is consumed more to remove stains or whatever, right? So if it is not causing much lather, sometimes you'll not have much lather even though after application of soap for many times, right? Right? So then such water is hard water. The problem is not with soap, the problem is with water, right? So I mean that hardness, if it water is very hard, the soap consumption will be more because it will not produce lather easily, right? Hard waters are also difficult to consume. If the hardness exceeds 250 milligram per liter, again it is not allowed. Usually 250 to 300 milligram per liter of hardness is okay in water, right? So hardness is measured again by titration procedure. You might have seen first year chemistry laboratory titrations, right? I mean for hardness, I think you have already found hardness, acidity, alkalinity. Same is the procedure here. The same is the procedure here. I don't know if some sensor is developed for it. I think there are sensors for hardness also. Yeah. So, I mean, temporary hardness can be removed by boiling, but permanent hardness again it needs some chemical treatments like zeolite softening, ion exchange process, Nalgonda technique, which I'll tell you, reverse osmosis, etc. Again, water treatment technologies usually boiling is one treatment, but do we have boiling water? You can boil water, you can kill all the germs, everything, and it is safe for drinking. But can you expect boiling water for a long period? Will it be free from contamination? You have boiled water, you have cooled water, and you have taken. It is very safe. It's very good also. But if you expose it to atmosphere or if you just do not properly store, is that water again safe? No. So boiling is not permanent treatment procedure for drinking water. Right? You should go number of stages and it should be safe for drinking water means you should have an appropriate treatment procedure. You understand? So again, you will have an activated carbon or activated alumina. Did you any time see the filters that you see in your houses, water filters? You will have a tube, right? Black carbon tube, which is called as activated carbon. So what does it have? Physically, it can absorb all the impurities present in water. It has some adsorption characteristics. What is meant by absorption, adsorption, diffusion? I think you might have studied in lower physics classes while schooling, correct? Right? So I'll not go into that. Adsorption means absorbing the impurities. The carbon tube will itself absorb all the impurities. Sometimes that has to be cleaned, right? So even can purifier, there will be some tube. Clear? So boiling, chlorination is very, very important. What is meant by chlorination? Adding chlorine to water. This is one of the disinfection procedure. Boiling, apart from boiling, we have ozonation, we have ultraviolet disinfection, we have reverse osmosis. When we have many procedures for disinfecting water. What's meant by disinfection of water? Killing pathogens. Very good. So, ultimately, if water is undergone sedimentation, like water should go many treatment stages in treatment plant. Sedimentation, filtration, disinfection. These are main things, right? Sedimentation is to settle impurities. Filtration is to filter all the impurities. Disinfection is to kill pathogens. Pathogens means disease-causing bacteria. As I've told you, water contains both disease-causing bacteria, harmless bacteria. Am I correct? See, my students are very active. Very good. Right? So disinfection is, chlorination, boiling. There are again many methods. Which is more effective? Chlorination. You'll add chlorine. You'll say bleaching powder, right? Bleaching powder. But is it commonly used? Yes. It is effective also. But when it is exposed to atmosphere, it will lose its properties. Bleaching properties itself will be lost. Even though if you add that bleaching powder which has lost its which has lost its properties, will it be beneficial? No. Am I clear? Right. So, that's about chlorination, ozonation, UV. I'm not going into details. Solar distillation, even sun rays are very much powerful, right? For disinfecting water. It will kill pathogens. The water is exposed to sun. Automatically, all the bacteria will get killed due to high temperatures from sun. You understand? Silver is also very good. Why do we take food in silver plates? Why do children are fed in silver plates? Because silver has very good anti-germal properties, right? Anti-germicidal. It will kill all the germs, right? So that is why even though silver is very costly, children are fed usually. If you drink with silver glass, it is very good. If you eat with silver plate, it is very good for health point of view, right? That is why what old tradition is. So coagulation, flocculation, again it is a treatment technique which I'll not discuss in detail. So say for example, some solids with heavy size automatically will tend to settle down, right? Some solids, say for example in water, if there are impurities with big size, due to gravity, they'll have more weight, they'll tend to settle down. But some will not settle down because they have less weight. What should we do? We need to add certain chemicals which are called as coagulants to make them into bigger size and settle down. That is a technique, a simple technique which I am telling. Do you understand? Some solids, what's the nature of solids in water? They should settle down one day or the other. If they do not settle down, we should make them to settle down. How do we make them settle down? We'll add certain chemicals. Am I clear? Again, sedimentation flocculation is again a big 2 hours, 4 hours class, which I cannot take here. It is as simple as that. Do you understand? Yes or no? Right. So, I mean, as a part of treatment, we need to have sedimentation, we need to have coagulation if we are not able to settle it. I mean, after coagulation, flocks will form. Flock means a bigger particle, as simple as that. That will easily tend to settle down. Am I clear? Right. For that, we'll add alum, which is universal common coagulant. Alum, patika. పట్టిక చూసారా? అందరూ చూసుంటారు. వైట్‌గా క్రిస్టల్‌లా ఉంటుంది. ఆ పట్టిక వాటర్‌లో యాడ్ చేస్తే వాటర్‌లో ఉన్న చిన్న చిన్న సాలిడ్ పార్టికల్స్ అన్నీ, ఇంప్యూరిటీస్ అన్నీ సెటిల్ అవుతాయి. దానికి ఆ నేచర్ ఉంటుంది. ఒక చిన్న సాలిడ్ పార్టికల్ ఇంకో చిన్న సాలిడ్ పార్టికల్ కలిసి పెద్దదవుతుంది. పెద్దదయినప్పుడు ఏమవుతుంది? వెయిట్ పెరుగుతుంది. కిందకు ఉంటుంది. బర్డ్స్ విల్ ఫ్లై బికాస్ లెస్ వెయిట్. వి ఆల్ విల్ నాట్ ఫ్లై. వై? More weight. Correct? That's nature. Same is the thing. Right? In treatment, it's the same is the thing. Am I clear? Yes or no? So filtration. Again, filtration, filter beds, sand. Sand is a very big, good filter bed. Sand, if it is properly cleaned and if you arrange it in the form of a bed and if you make water to pass through it, what will happen? Water will flow through the sand particles. Geotechnically, soil will have pores in between. When there is one particle, one more particle, definitely when you pack it in the form of a bed, soil particles will have gaps which cannot be seen by us. అంతేనా? సాయిల్ పార్టికల్ ఎలా ఉంటుంది? రౌండ్ ఇర్రెగ్యులర్ షేప్ ఉంటుంది. ఇంకో సాయిల్ పార్టికల్ ఉంది. ఒక సాయిల్ పార్టికల్, ఒక సాయిల్ పార్టికల్ ఇలా మొత్తం బెడ్ లాగా అరేంజ్ చేసాం. 1 మీటర్ బై 1 మీటర్, 1 మీటర్ బై 1 మీటర్ ఇమాజిన్ క్రాస్ సెక్షన్. రైట్? సో అలా బెడ్ లాగా ఒక డెప్త్ 2 మీటర్స్ బెడ్ అరేంజ్ చేసాం. మనం వాటర్‌ని పాస్ చేస్తాం. ఏమవుతుంది? వాటర్ విల్ ఫ్లో ఆల్ త్రూ ద ఇంటర్స్టిసెస్. ఏంటి? హోల్స్. వాటి మధ్య ఉన్న వాయిడ్స్, ఆ గ్యాప్స్ మధ్యలో వాటర్ వెళ్ళిపోతుంది. అలా వాటర్ వెళ్ళిపోతూ వాటర్‌లో ఉన్న ఇంప్యూరిటీస్ అన్నీ శాండ్ పార్టికల్స్ హత్తుకుంటాయి. వాటర్ ఫ్రీ ఫ్రమ్ ఇంప్యూరిటీస్ విల్ గో టు ద బాటమ్. దట్ ఈస్ ఫిల్ట్రేషన్ సింపుల్. Right? So again, rapid sand filters, slow sand filters, again 4 hours, 6 hours class. Right? No need for you. Clear? Right. So that is what filtration is. Filter bed, ila sand, if you arrange it, if you pass water to pass through it, automatically all water flows, gravity. What's nature of water? All fluids flow from higher level to lower level or lower level to higher level. Right. So that's the nature, that's the technique that we are doing. Right? You will arrange filters in the form of sand and gravel bed. Gravel is bigger, rai. Sand is smaller. Sand, you know it, beach sand. You understand? Right? So smaller is the size, more will be the filtration. Correct? అవన్నీ మళ్ళీ ఇంకా టెక్నికల్‌గా ఎక్కువ వెళ్ళిపోతుంది. సో సరిపోతుంది. ఫిల్టర్ బెడ్‌ని అరేంజ్ చేస్తే ఫిల్ట్రేషన్ జరుగుతుంది. ఇంప్యూరిటీస్ అన్నీ ఫిల్టర్‌లో బెడ్‌లో శాండ్ పార్టికల్స్ కలెక్ట్ చేసేస్తాయి. దట్ ఈస్ వాట్ ఫిల్ట్రేషన్ ఇస్. సో వి హావ్ సీన్ సెడిమెంటేషన్, వి హావ్ సీన్ కోయాగులేషన్, వి హావ్ సీన్ ఫిల్ట్రేషన్. మా స్టూడెంట్స్ అనుకుంటారు, హమ్మయ్య! ఇలా చెప్పకపోయారా? ఎందుకంత శాండ్ ఫిల్టర్‌కే ఒక 2 అవర్స్, 4 అవర్స్ చెప్పేస్తున్నారు ఈళ్ళు అనుకుంటారు మా వాళ్ళు. అంతేనా? So again, these are different types of filters: Cartridge filters, rapid sand filters, slow sand filters. So again, civil engineering, the beauty of civil engineering is everything is related to nature. We can study, we can see it, we can feel it, everything. Right? So every normal physical technique is civil engineering. Aeration. Aeration means, again, this is one treatment technique. Aeration, air, supply of air. Water ni ala steps laga pass chesesam. Like water is made to flow through the cascade steps. What happens? It will catch air from the oxygen from the atmosphere. So water remains fresh. If no oxygen in water, does it remain fresh? No. Water will have certain dissolved oxygen in it. Air, anyways, plenty of oxygen, but water will also have some dissolved oxygen, oxygen in dissolved state. Just like salt and sugar dissolves in water. Do you understand? Right? So just like that, water has some oxygen in it, on which fish and shrimp are living. Do you understand? Even water, drinking water should have some certain DO, 3.5 or 4. If it is having zero DO, that would be stagnant, smelling. So అది ఫ్రెష్ వాటర్ కాదు, సెప్టిక్. సో అలాంటప్పుడు మనం వి షుడ్ నాట్ డ్రింక్ ఇట్. యు అండర్స్టాండ్? Disinfection for killing bacteria, as I've told you, chlorination is one such effective. UV స్విమ్మింగ్ పూల్స్ అన్ని యూవీ రేస్ తో డిస్ఇన్ఫెక్ట్ చేస్తారు, పెద్ద పెద్ద స్విమ్మింగ్ పూల్స్ అన్ని. Again, dosage of chlorine is again one more big topic, right? So once chlorine is added, some part is reacted, some part is left. Left chlorine kuda very important. If it is not left, what happens? Further contamination might happen in future. కొంచెం chlorine water లో యాడ్ చేశాక water should react with that chlorine, and all the organic and inorganic impurities will react with chlorine, and some part will be left as free chlorine. That should be there. How much should be there? Approximately 0.1 to 0.22. 0.2 milligram per liter before distribution. If you check it, that water is safe for distribution. If you do not have free chlorine left in water, that is again not safe for distribution. ఇంటికి డిస్ట్రిబ్యూట్ చేసే ముందు you need to check residual chlorine or free chlorine. 0.1 to 0.2 milligram per liter. ఎందుకు? క్లోరిన్ అలా వాటర్లో యాడ్ చేయగానే ఇట్ విల్ రియాక్ట్ విత్ సమ్ ఇంప్యూరిటీస్ అండ్ ఇట్ విల్ బి లెఫ్ట్ యాజ్ ఫ్రీ క్లోరిన్. దట్ it should be at least 0.2, not excess. If it is 0.2, still if there will be any additional bacteria entering into water, it will try to kill. If there is no concentration of chlorine again in water before distribution, what does it mean? It has a chance to get contaminated. You understand? కానీ వాటర్ ట్రీట్మెంట్ లో అంత స్ట్రిక్ట్ ప్రొసీజర్ జరగాలి. డూ యూ థింక్ దట్స్ హ్యాపెనింగ్ యాక్చువల్లీ? నో. యా, ఫ్లోరైడ్ రిమూవల్. నల్గొండ, like in past, I mean, there are many bone deformations for people, skeletal fluorosis, right? So fluoride content in water should be between 1 to 1.5. 1 to 1.5 milligram per liter. What does it mean? Milligram per liter, parts per million. Per 1 milliliter, sorry, per 1 liter of water that you take, 1.5 mg is okay, or 1 mg is okay. Not less than 1 mg or not greater than 1.5 mg should be fluoride in 1 liter. But I am speaking of such populations water. How much water is required for this population? For a population of Bhimavaram, total number of population people multiplied by 135 liters of water is required. Per person per day, 135 liters of water is to be supplied for all the needs, for bathing, cooking, whatever, washing, drinking, everything. 135 liters is to be supplied. That is total water. You can work out on that. How much should be the fluoride content? If it is more than that, what is happening? You'll have deformation of bones. ఆ మధ్యన టీవీలో చూసుంటాం, లైక్ నల్గొండ, దెర్ ఇస్ అ సీరియస్ ప్రాబ్లమ్ ఆఫ్ బోన్ డిఫార్మేషన్. బోన్ ఇలా అయిపోయింది చాలా మందికి, లెగ్స్ అన్ని ఇలా డిఫార్మ్ అయిపోయి, రైట్? సో దట్, I mean, is due to excess fluorides in water. It should not be greater than 1.5, but it has 30 to 40 milligram per liter. That is why the bone deformations has been happened. Then government has taken initiative, and IIT Madras has taken initiative, and they have developed a technique called as Nalgonda technique, right? Which has removed this fluorides from water, and that is very popular and very economical method, which is safe for drinking. Now those people are safe. You understand? కాళ్ళు ఇలా ఉండాల్సింది లెగ్ ఇలా డిఫార్మ్ అయిపోతే అసలు ఇమాజిన్ రైట్ హౌ హార్మ్ఫుల్ ఇట్ ఈస్. దట్ ఈస్ అగైన్ డ్యూ టు ఎక్సెస్ ఫ్లోరైడ్స్ ఇన్ వాటర్. Again, excess arsenic in some place. Again, IIT Madras have worked. Right? We engineers should come with certain solutions. They have come with certain treatment procedure where arsenic is removed. Correct? Dr. Chaitanya Sudha from IIT Madras has addressed that. మా సివిల్ స్టూడెంట్స్ ఉన్నారా? ఆ రోజు వచ్చి ఉండరు. లాస్ట్ రీసెంట్‌గా జరిగింది కదా ఆగస్ట్‌లో. I mean previous sem. Hmm. So again, everything was discussed. So did you understand? So I've just covered quality and treatment aspects only basically, because everything cannot be put in this single hour, and I should not bore you much. I don't want to bore you much. That's why I've just covered only basic thing what is required. Right? It is not technically correct what I've spoken, right? So technically it requires all standards and all treatment procedures systematically, which I'll take it in class, which is not required for you people. What actually is required, I mean how an area is selected, how what type of problem should be selected in that particular region, and how it should be addressed. We are speaking of aquaculture and water continuously, but you can take some other problem, not aquaculture and water always, right? But how to address a problem, you need to think of it in that way. That's our aim, right? So next 3 days you'll have hands-on experience on IoT, because everyone is aware of breadboards, microcontrollers, raspberries, something, right? Some knowledge is there with you people, right? So tomorrow Krishnakant sir from ECE department will come and he'll address about IoT. Day after tomorrow, Prasad sir from EEE department will come and he'll support with AI and ML applications for water generally, right? And fifth day, you know it, right? City Raghu sir will come and he'll address with web development, cloud computing, something, all details, right? So mostly like we'll try that. Last year we have can come out with some models. Am I clear? Right. And similarly, I mean, we'll see that some other programs will be planned as such. This is this is a sponsored product from IIIT Hyderabad, and we'll see some 2 days workshop. Something can be planned interdisciplinary, so that you can all combine each other, right? And work on. Am I clear? Right. So at 12 o'clock you can have your lunch. Is lunch okay yesterday? Right. Today also you'll have a nice lunch. So again, we'll meet at 2 o'clock, right? 2 o'clock, Jeevan sir will address. Vamshi sir will also come, right? So Jeevan sir from Vet Center will address you on water quality testing in laboratories, right? And tomorrow again, IoT, as I've told you, the plan is as per the schedule, correct? Right? So don't get bored. From tomorrow, you'll have just hands-on experience. But basics are required, right? Something has to be spoken first. That's why these 2 days are like this. Clear? Right? Don't get bored. You'll have nice programs thereafter. Right? So I welcome you all to Sustainthon 2026 also, which is in advance. Yeah? From our department. So you can leave. Come to lunch, have lunch at 12 o'clock. It's mandatory. Those who are absent also, you can call them for lunch. It's okay. Right? అర్థమైందా? ఏమన్నా పెట్టచ్చా ఇలాంటివి? నచ్చిందా? We'll come with some other topic, right? మా వాళ్ళకి పాపం తప్పదు. మా వాళ్ళకి తప్పదు. నన్ను తప్పదు. సార్ వంశీ సార్ తప్పదు. So join for lunch, okay? Don't miss it. మీరు మన సివిల్ వాళ్ళు అందరూ యాక్టివ్‌గా వాళ్ళు వచ్చారా లేదా వాళ్ళు తింటున్నారా అన్ని చూసుకోవాలి. ఓకేనా? బీ ఫ్రెండ్లీ విత్ ఎవ్రీవన్. క్లియర్?
మేడం అది ఓన్లీ ఫెబ్ 14 వచ్చింది మేడం. ఫెబ్ 14 గేట్ ఎగ్జామ్ చాలా మంది ఏమైనా మార్చడం